So to answer why I've been kind of absent for a few days, yeah, I've been working off a cold. Well, fever, I should say. Hell, I still am, if you can probably hear it in the sound of my voice. But, like I talked about, I brought this up briefly, if I remember right, when I did my review on the Star Trek Planet of the Apes first issue, crossover of the first issue. That sentence was completely butchered. The crossover's first issue, there you go, can't say words. I mentioned, I believe, that I also purchased the 2 volumes for the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. I've just today, as of this recording, finished the comic, and I'm going to give my review. Something that came out in 2012, and I just got it. Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the crossover that everyone wanted to happen. Was it any good? You know, seeing these 2 great, sci-fi franchises finally come together, see the Doctor finally talk to Jean-Luc Picard, and even talk to James T. Kirk, I'll elaborate in a minute, it was very cool to see it. However, this comic was way too goddamn long. And it really, really had some scenes in here that just made me go, God, you could have cut this out. Seriously, no, really. You could have cut out so much of this comic, nothing would have changed, and it would have been shorter, and it probably would have been for the better. I understand that, the Tiptons were trying to go for the Star Trek route of, very dialogue heavy, and Doctor Who has that too, don't get me wrong. But the thing is that you're putting together 2 of the greatest sci-fi franchises ever together under one roof. Something that has never, ever been done. It's never been done. Ever. And your thought process was to make it slow-paced and... Now, I did like this. Did I love it? No. I like it? Yes. I don't know if I'd put it on my, top 10 favorite crossovers. I don't think I'd do that, but this is a good crossover. Was it worth the money I spent? God, no. I should have waited till I found it at $5 at a convention. Excuse me. Told you I'm still working off a fever. So, let's talk about the story. The story is that the Borg and the Cybermen have the Cybermen have united alongside the Borg because they both have kind of the same. They're pretty much 2 of the same coin, pretty much. And the Cybermen have wandered into their universe. Which, by the way, they are very vague on how the Cybermen get into the Borg's universe. You could say, well, they did it. They used the whole Army of Ghosts thing. They did the whole universal shift thing. Yeah, but that was with the Daleks' help with the Void ship. And the other thing is that they stole Dalek technology, when they were crossing over into the past with the help of in the Next Doctor, that other Tennant episode. Yeah, that was stolen Dalek technology they were using. So they really are vague on how the Cybermen even showed up in this universe. And they never really go into the whole threat of this even the Doctor's he's very calm about the whole situation, even though the Cybermen punched a hole into another universe, which we still don't know how that happened. And he's just like, it's fine, it's fine. This isn't supposed to how it's supposed to be done, but yeah, we should just get the Cybermen out of here, and all the problems should be fixed. Again, sorry. So, also, let's talk about... so that's pretty much the story, is that the Doctor, and the crew, the Doctor, Amy, Rory, and the crew of the Enterprise all unite to fight the Cybermen, and even team up with the Borg to fight the Cybermen. I kind of wish there was more, of a unity between the Borg and the Cybermen, because literally, this alliance between the Borg and the Cybermen is literally just lightning fast, and then it goes right back around to the Cybermen being, oh, we got it, we all have to unite against the Cybermen because they're the greatest threat ever. And I'm sitting here like, okay, the idea of uniting with the Borg is cool, but I would have liked to see more of this so-called of this alliance, and rather than just make it, oh, let's just make the Cybermen the end-all, be-all bad guy. I also find it that I can understand why some people, because I know some Trekkie fans who are friends of mine who were very pissed off at the idea of the Borg being so easily taken out by the Cybermen. Which I can understand because, which I can buy that because the Borg are pretty much the end all be all bad guys of the TNG universe, and them to be taken out so easily by the Cybermen, it's a little frustrating. And I'm the Whovian here, but it's actually kind of nice in another perspective. It's kind of nice to see the Cybermen be big threats on the other side of the spectrum, because let's face it, when was the last time we had a really good Cybermen story? Go on, tell me. And hang on, don't answer with Dark Water and Death in Heaven, because this was set after Series 6. So, up until that point, we never really had a good Cybermen story. Well, actually, Closing Time was actually a pretty good one, but I digress. And the next Doctor's I'm getting off topic. But yeah. Now remember when I said that there were some unneeded scenes in here that could have been cut out? Yeah, you could have easily cut out most of the story in issue 1 and 2 of this comic and would have made it a 6-parter, and it wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. Like, seriously. The first issue delves with you see the Cybermen and the Borg attacking a Federation planet, and then it cuts to the rest of the story being about the Doctor, Amy, and Rory in ancient Egypt fighting this shape-shifting alien. Then it cuts into them going to like the 1920s, and they see Riker and Data in a bar, which turns out to be the holodeck. And then the second issue explains what led up to that point. Seriously. You could have done this entire story, cut this out, and just cut that out and put that in there. You could have cut the story about, what led up to them going to the holodeck, and from that point on, this could have been, and also cut out the story, the Doctor Who story as well. Splice that together. Oh, that snuck up on me. But yeah, you could have literally cut some of this out, and it wouldn't have changed. Also, maybe this is just me being a little biased here, but I can't be the only one. Was anyone else bummed that the Doctor didn't get to meet Q in this story? I cannot be the only one I can't be the only one who read this and gone, oh, Q would have been perfect in here. You could have easily said Q was the reason the Cybermen got into the Star Trek universe. You could have easily said that. I mean, hell, Q was the reason behind this weird version of Flint merged with Vandal Savage in the Star Trek Legion of Superheroes crossover, which was actually pretty good. And again, it followed that story of they didn't really meet. It was 6 issues, but they didn't really meet until issue 3. On the other hand, it had a lot of story to it, and it was actually pretty damn good. Among other things, I feel like the artwork doesn't really work well. I know it's painted, and the guy was very... And I did watch the Geekvolution interview where they talked to the artist, and he said, he felt rushed. And I get that. I can understand, you gotta keep up with a timetable here. But it really... You can clearly tell where he traced. You can clearly tell where he traced in certain points. Now... Among other things with this comic is that it just felt like it missed a few marks with, like, the Doctor talking to Deanna Troi. I would have liked to see more of that. It was nice to see Rory and Worf become friends in a way. That was kind of cool. And also the Doctor and Data have a bit of a friendship. I am so sorry with this cough. But yeah, it was also kind of cool to see the Doctor, Amy, and Rory travel back to the past and actually see Locutus. I don't want to give away the major reason as to why that happens, but it's pretty cool for them to go back to that story. And at the end, I really did like the mention of how it of the Doctor's interaction with the Borg kind of led into First Contact. If you got the Star Trek movie First Contact, I mean. All in all, did I like this crossover? Yes. Was my expectations a little too high? Oh, hell yeah. There's just some really missed opportunities here. It was cool to see the Doctor meet Guinan. Don't get me wrong, that was really cool for the Doctor to meet Guinan. Oh, I should have known better than to do this review while I was still working off the flu. God damn it. Anyway. But like I said, I feel like they didn't really fully explain what was going on with the Cybermen, and making them very quickly the only bad guy was a little too, like, I kind of wish I saw more of this Borg-Cybermen alliance. And we also get to see Cybermen upgraded with Borg technology. So, and before you even ask, no, they did not call them the Cyborg Men, which would have been hokey as all hell, but I would have loved it. Admit it, you wanted it, you would have loved it too if they called them the Cyborg Men. Or just cyborgs. Everyone's thinking it, I'm just saying it. But don't get the wrong idea. I like this crossover. It was very cool to see finally Star Trek and Doctor Who come together. I'm just saying this felt very much like there are some missed opportunities here. There are a lot of missed opportunities here. But then again, you didn't want to make the... And also, it ran a little too long. It just ran a little too long, and there was just some unnecessary stuff that you could have cut out. I know I talked about, it was way too much Doctor Who in the first issue, and then way too much Star Trek in the second issue, and it doesn't really coalesce until the end of the second issue. It's kind of like the same problem I had with the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover, which, yeah, it's done by the same people, mind you. It's done by the Tiptons. And yeah, in that story, it felt way too much Star Trek focus, and it ends just when the story is getting picked up when they go to the Planet of the Apes. But yeah, hopefully they've learned from their mistake and correct that, and anyway. Oh, let's talk. Oh yeah, before I forget, let's talk a bit about the minor crossover with Tom Baker's Doctor and the original crew of the Enterprise, TOS, excuse me. That was pretty fun. I gotta admit, that was pretty fun. Also, the art style was nicely well put together too. I rather enjoyed how they how they brought together Tom Baker's Doctor. Although he just shows up. Again, he just shows up, and it's just treated like, oh, hello, Doctor. And they fight the Cybermen. They do fight the classic Cybermen, like Baker-era Cybermen, which was... it's kind of like they still had the same look they had from the Patrick Troughton story, The Invasion, but for some reason they're blue in this comic. The classic Cybermen are blue for some reason, which I don't really understand. But it's all around fun, and also the artwork. I like the artwork a lot better. It felt a little more fluid than the whole rest of the story, which felt very painted. And I do feel bad for saying that about the artist, because I can understand that he was rushed. But sometimes it just felt like, wow, it clearly shows. Anyway, all in all, I'm going to give this 3 out of 5. It's okay. It just felt like super dialogue heavy. It felt way too much like it was trying to be a Star Trek story with Doctor Who characters in it. That's what I think that's the crippling thing, is that it felt more Star Trek than it did Doctor Who. But having said that, though, it was cool to see the Borg and the Cybermen unite. Obviously the Borg were inspired by the Cybermen, and it felt it was pretty cool to see that, and of course to see Jean-Luc and the Doctor meet, members of the start of the Enterprise inside the TARDIS. But again, it just felt like there were some missed opportunities there, and it felt more. It had more dialogue than a Bendis comic, and in a bad way. Whereas Bendis could make this interesting, the rest of it's just like, man, it clearly feels like filler here. Anyway, do I suggest getting it? If you're a really diehard Star Trek or Doctor Who fan and you want to see how this goes down, check it out, but I would suggest discount prices like on Amazon or something. Not get it at full price. Anyway, regardless, I hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.